Okay, we have another cursed video. I am gritting my teeth and pressing play. Let's see what my producers have picked out for me this time.
This has been a painful year in a painful decade. We're living through a pandemic that continues to ravage communities in every corner of the globe. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet, with the most vulnerable suffering most of all. The few weaponizing lies and disinformation at the expense of the many. And from the horrific war in Ukraine to the rolling back of constitutional rights here in the United States, we are witnessing a global assault on democracy and freedom, the cause of Mandela's life.
It is so nice of Ed Sheeran to take an interest in American politics. And, I really liked Thinking Out Loud, actually. It was pretty good. Oh, wait, that's not Ed. I'm getting, somebody's telling me that's not Ed Sheeran. That's actually the artist formerly known as Prince Harry. I mean, come on. I actually had not seen that clip yet, although I had heard about this. Here in the US of A, we have a proud tradition of not caring what royals think, and we especially don't care what ex-royals think. This is just like, to us, this is just some guy, right? And that's how we should treat him. And that's really how all of these elites, ought to be regarded. It's like, okay, some dude, like, it seems to be vaguely misinformed about a lot of news items. Like, to us, compare, the war in Ukraine, Putin's invasion of Ukraine, to, quote, the rolling back of constitutional rights. What does this guy know about constitution or rights in the U.S.? I mean, famously, his country doesn't even have a written constitution. And so I guess he married, like, an American actress. And so now with their powers combined, they're suddenly legal experts. Like, look, the right to abortion was an imaginary right. It never existed. There's no such thing as a right to abortion in the Constitution. So this whole line of argument and PR that they're rolling back constitutional rights is complete gobbledygook. It's nonsense. And more generally, of course, the title may be gone, but the entitlement remains. He may no longer be officially a royal, but he certainly seems to imagine himself as some kind of, authority for the world. And look, I mean, I care about this exactly as much as I would care, actually, if Ed Sheeran really did have an opinion about Roe v. Wade or American politics or anything of that nature. And it just tells you the level of discourse that our elites are engaging in, because that speech is indistinguishable from, like, the line of so-called experts on the left about the Constitution and how this threatens all of our civil liberties. It's like the whole thing is just a TV show. It's just a big old reality TV show. And as always with abortion, it's designed to do one thing: to distract you from the question, right? The question is, are babies in the womb human beings or not? And whenever you try to dehumanize an entire class of people, you have to stop the public, especially the American public, from looking at that question head on. That is, what Lincoln accused Douglas of doing in the Lincoln-Douglas debates, is trying to get whites, to just think of slavery as irrelevant to them. Northern whites, well, it's not really our problem because we're not the ones being enslaved. And here it's not really our problem because, we survived the womb. So it's not really, something. And this idea of just, look away from it and think about your constitutional rights and democracy and all these big, scary words that have actually nothing to do with the situation at hand, right? All of this is a smokescreen. It's all designed to distract you from the actual question. Americans, even at our late stage of decline, Americans have a pretty strong moral impulse. And when they actually see what abortion involves, especially in the manner that the left wants it, which is always basically up to 2 weeks after birth, their moral intuition kicks in and they understand that you're talking about the taking of a human life. And so they have to take your attention away from that in every possible way they can. Look, here's Prince Harry. Look, here's Harry Potter. Here's it's like these sock puppets that they kind of thrust in front of you, shadows on the cave, to stop you from reasoning clearly about what our system actually invites us to do, which is engage with our fellow citizens in matters of debate, reason, argumentation, and local voting. Right, that is sort of our process here, and that's what the Supreme Court has actually done: is kick this issue back to the states for Americans to debate about and decide amongst themselves. Your elites do not want you doing that, and they will do anything to stop you from actually talking to your neighbor in good faith and goodwill about what the question on the table is. If you want to learn more about this stuff, I encourage you to take a look at the rest of these videos on this on this YouTube page. There's a bunch of stuff about abortion, but there's also stuff about that shadows on the cave idea, which is obviously very ancient, comes from Plato's Republic, Book 7. And we did a series of episodes on that recently and how it still applies to our lives today. So check it out, and welcome to Young Heretics.